So let's talk about his actual statements to you in that transcript, okay? When you first approached Mr. Bryan, what did you ask him? And if you can turn to page 6, lines 13 through 14, and just quote that right there.
Sure. I said, all right, so you're a passerby coming through?
Okay. So
Mr. William Bryan?
What was his response?
His response was, not necessarily.
Okay. So you ask him if he's a passerby coming through. Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And his response is not necessarily?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did Bryan then begin to tell you what happened to lead up to Ahmaud lying dead on the street on Holmes Road?
Yes.
Okay. Did Bryan tell you that he actually got involved in the chase that led to Ahmaud's death?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the beginning of that involvement, okay? What was Bryan doing when he noticed something was going on? What did he say he was doing?
He said he was working on his porch.
Okay. And where was that? Was that on Burford?
Yes, ma'am, at 307 Burford.
Okay. And did he say something happened to catch his attention as he's working there on his front porch?
Yes, ma'am. He said he saw a black male run by.
Okay.
And then he saw a white truck drive by.
Okay. Now, when he saw the black guy run by, did he recognize that black guy?
He didn't say he recognized him, though.
He said he didn't recognize him, right? Now, when he first saw that truck drive by, did he recognize the people in the truck?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So he didn't recognize the black guy?
Correct.
And he didn't recognize the people in the truck?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, what did he do after seeing the black guy in the truck?
He said he hollered at the truck, "Y'all got him?"
Okay. So he hollered.
I'm sorry, I misheard you, but they corrected me. It was my hearing, not yours.
Okay. All right. So he said he hollered at the truck, "Y'all got him."
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So having no knowledge of what was going on, he asked the truck whether they had him.
That's correct.
Okay. Did he ever ask the black guy if he was okay?
No, ma'am, he did not say he did.
Did he ever ask the black guy if he needed help in any way?
No, ma'am, he didn't say he did that.
Okay. Did Bryan then get into his truck and join the chase?
Yes. He said, pulled out of my driveway, was going to try to block him, but he was going all around it. I made a few moves at him, and he didn't stop.
Okay, thank you. Was that portion that you just read, when Mr. Bryan said he pulled out his driveway and tried to block Ahmaud, what road did that happen on?
That was on Burford.
Burford Road, okay. Did Bryan say anything about Ahmaud having to stop during the chase at some point?
Yes, he said that he had to stop and catch his breath.
Okay. So Bryan saw that Ahmaud had to stop and catch his breath.
Yeah, Brian's the one that told me that happened.
Okay. Now, did Bryan point to the area where Burford Road kind of ends and comes up to the intersection of Holmes and Satilla when he said that Ahmaud had to stop and catch his breath?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
So where was Ahmaud when Bryan said he had to stop, meaning Ahmaud, to catch his breath?
Where we were standing, he pointed back toward, we were on Holmes Road, he pointed back toward Burford.
Okay, so in that area of Burford. Now, according to Bryan, did he say specifically that he blocked Ahmaud during this chase?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times did Mr. Bryan say that he blocked Ahmaud during this chase?
How many times he said it is irrelevant. How many times it happened is relevant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Go ahead, Mr. Minshew. You can answer the question.
After going back and reviewing the transcribed body camera, it appeared to be approximately 5 times.
Okay. So 5 times he said that he blocked Ahmaud.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many of those times happened on Burford Road?
I believe it was 2 times on Burford.
Okay. And how many of those times happened on Holmes Road?
And those were 3 times
3 times on Holmes. Okay? And I know it's human nature to say and to nod,
ma'am.
but if
That's
you
right.
can, thank you for the court reporter. Now, did Bryan ever talk about whether he should have been chasing Ahmaud?
He did.
Okay? And I'm going to ask you to turn to page 20, lines 23 through 24, and just tell us specifically what did Mr. Bryan say in terms of,
Could you give me the lines again?
sure, lines 23 through 24 in terms of Mr. Bryan's involvement.
All right, and one more time for the page.
Page 20, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Might be going a little bit too fast.
23. He said, I mean, this would have never happened, you know. Should we? He said, I mean, this would have never happened, you know. Should I have been chasing him? I don't know.
Okay, so he said, should I have been chasing him? I don't know.
I
Is that
don't know.
right? Okay. Now, did Bryan, during the course of your interview, talk about his belief that Ahmaud was somehow trying to get into his truck?
He did.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you to turn to page 21, lines 2 through 4.
One time, when I cornered him up over here, he was trying to get in my truck. He tried to get in my door.
Okay, and at the point where you're talking to him on scene, is he pointing to a certain street where he's saying he cornered Ahmaud?
Yes, ma'am. He was pointing back toward Burford.
To Burford Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you then follow up by asking him to clarify what it looked like Ahmaud was doing?
I did.
Okay. And what was his immediate response? And I'm going to ask you to turn to page 21, lines 22 through 23.
I mean, I'd cut him off pretty good now.
Okay, thank you. Did Bryan talk about driving on the wrong side of the roadway when he was trying to block Ahmaud and corner him?
Yes.
Okay, did he say he drove on the wrong side of the roadway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he talk about wearing a seatbelt or not wearing a seatbelt as he's driving and chasing Ahmaud, trying to block him and corner him?
Yes, ma'am. If I remember correctly, he was not wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to turn to page 23, lines 17 through 18, and just tell us what did Bryan say about feeling he would be thrown through the windshield? And if you can just start with thrown, lines 17 through 18.
He said, thrown through the damn windshield trying to chase this joker.
Okay. So did he tell you he felt like he was going to be thrown through the windshield without his seatbelt trying to chase this damn joker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Joker being the victim in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
During your interview with him, did he talk about his involvement leading up to the victim being gunned down at the intersection of Holmes and Satilla?
Did he tell me that while we were talking?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And if you could turn to page 33.
He said, the black guy, like I say, went on up towards the damn fire truck. But I think I somehow or another changed his mind, and he cut back through this way. I think I blocked him again or something over there.
Okay, go ahead.
And he came back through this way. So I went back up in here and went that way. And that's about where your video picks up when I turn around.
Okay. And at the point where Bryan's talking about the last blocking incident that you just read, what road is he on, and what road is the victim on?
We're on Holmes. We're on Holmes Road at that point.
Holmes Road, where he died.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So did Bryan also talk about Ahmaud seeing him on Holmes Road and then turning around back down Holmes Road towards the intersection where he was shot?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to direct you to page 10, line 11. Tell me when you're there. Starting with he.
He said he turns around and comes, sees me, and he turns back around and starts hauling ass that way.
Okay. And that would be from your interview with him, hauling ass back towards the intersection where he was
Back
killed?
towards Holmes Road and Satilla Drive.
Okay. Did Bryan talk about seeing Ahmaud looking tired? Like he was tired of running at some
Yeah,
point?
he mentioned that he was.
No, the previous question was stopping to catch his breath, Judge. This is a different question.
He did mention that.
Okay, well, it's over with. Go ahead.
So,
Thank you. Now you can answer.
yes, ma'am, he did mention that.
He didn't mention that, okay.
He said, when I rounded the corner out there, it was almost like the black guy was tired of running.
Okay, thank you. Did he say that during this time he overheard anything being yelled towards the black guy?
Yes, ma'am. He said he heard, stop, what'd you do? Or something like that. What'd you steal? What'd you do?
Okay. And that's during the time that he's being chased, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, according to Bryan, did Ahmaud ever say anything during the chase that Bryan could hear?
He said he never said a word.
He never said a word. Okay. And did he say how close he got to Ahmaud during the chase when Mr. Bryan was chasing him?
He said he had his window down, and at some point he got right up close next to him.
Okay. And he didn't hear him say a thing?
That's correct. He did not.
Now, did Bryan have a cell phone on him during this time when he's chasing
Yes,
Ahmaud?
ma'am.
Okay. Did he ever tell you that he called 911 or anything?
No, he did not tell me. He never mentioned it.
Okay. Did Bryan ever see Ahmaud with any kind of weapon?
He never told me he saw him with a weapon.
Okay. You specifically asked him about a weapon and whether he saw one.
I don't recall.
Okay, but Bryan never told you he saw a weapon.
That's
on
correct.
him.
He never told me he saw a weapon.
Okay. Did Bryan ever say Ahmaud made any verbal threats towards him during this time when he was being chased?
No, ma'am. He said he didn't hear him ever say anything.
Okay. Any verbal threats towards anybody at all?
No, ma'am.
Did Bryan ever say he saw Ahmaud commit any crime at the point where Bryan decided to leave his house?
No, ma'am. He did not report any crime to me.
Okay. Did Bryan ever say he was trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud?
No, ma'am.
Did Bryan ever say he was trying to arrest Ahmaud for criminal trespass?
No, ma'am.
Loitering?
No, ma'am.
Burglary?
Didn't mention it. No,
Attempted burglary?
no ma'am.
Aggravated assault?
No.
Anything?
No, ma'am.
And did Bryan ever say that he told Ahmaud that Ahmaud was under arrest for anything?
No, ma'am.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.